Okay, my beautiful friends, sit tight and relax because I may really freak the freak out this morning. There's so much going on, and we're going to cover it right now. It's just getting so, frankly, stupid. So, Thursday, October 6, 2022, people, look, if you recall yesterday, when I did my post-market wrap-up, I was in a really good mood. I really was. You know, I love being here with all of you. That's the truth. I like talking about this stuff, but it really does get under my skin sometimes. And this morning is a clear example of that. The mainstream media outlets here, the propaganda ministry, they are in some kind of mode here, floating out guests, floating out Fed presidents here, to try to convince you that this phenomenon that we are witnessing here with global bond yields, you know, miraculously dropping, oh, this is not the Federal Reserve. It's not central banks buying the debt. Well, then who's buying the freaking debt? People, it is. You know this. It's central banks around the world. It all started here with the Bank of England. Bank of England pivots big time, okay? They decide they're going to, institute another round of quantitative easing, but don't call it quantitative easing. They're just buying all the debt. It's not quantitative easing. Look, it's always a smokescreen. Oh, they're doing something, but it's not what you think it is, okay? Don't believe your own freaking lying eyes. Now, you got, yesterday later in the day, and this morning, they're parading out these freaks here to try to explain to you that the Fed is not going to pivot. The Federal Reserve is going to keep rates higher for longer. As a matter of fact, they went out of their way to pull Fed President Bostic out of his little cubby hole in the Federal Reserve to say, oh, the Federal Reserve is not going to pivot anytime soon. How about they already did pivot? Who's buying all the debt? People, we witnessed a historic event which went right under the radar recently. A 40 basis point drop in the 10-year yield in a matter of just a couple of days. This is unprecedented. It's never happened before. Not even during quantitative easing 1, quantitative easing 2, Operation Twist, and everything else that followed. We've never seen a 40 basis point drop in the 10-year yield in like 24 hours ever. But it's not the Fed. It's not central banks. They're not buying it all. Of course they are, people. Why are they doing this? Because, look, they're selling you a lie via the mainstream. I mean, it's on multiple levels now. The big lie, oh, yes, rates are too low, and that's the reason why inflation is surging out of control. We got some really interesting news on that. Hold that thought. And it has nothing whatsoever to do with rates. It's the currency. The currency around the world is in free fall, getting its purchasing power sucked out, and that's the real root cause of the issue of surging inflation. But you see, you're not allowed to know that. You must be lied to. You must be distracted. You must be propagandized. And this is the shit that gets to me, honestly. They can't tell people the truth. They can't explain to people puppet governments, brain-dead, mummified ghouls, presidents, they can't tell you the reason why they're really funding wars with billions and billions of dollars, the reason why they're doing things like the Inflation Reduction Act and this, policy to pull cash into the now to continue to inflate the debt is to empower central banks who get off on this. This is how they gain their power. Every central bank, their ability to inflate is how they keep their power. You want to take central bank's power, any central bank, stop it from inflating. Prevent the Federal Reserve, people, how many times have you heard me say this, from issuing $1 single of debt, just one. It implodes. The Federal Reserve goes away. Henceforth, why every single president will find any reason to continue to pull cash into the now from the future. Why every single president has to continue to outspend the previous president. Why things like global infectious disease processes are floated out here only as an excuse to fund this, that, and the other thing. People, this is a game. When are you going to understand that? Some of you seriously don't. I read the comments. Most of you do, but some of you don't. So going back to what I said here, look, the mechanism is very simple. We're in a shift of some kind of thing to, again, crush the global economy, sell the people a multitude of lies that it's rates that are the problem, which it's not. It's the dying currency here. And people, this is what we found out this morning. It's kind of very, very sad here. So the average person here, people in general, are burning through their earnings and savings at their fastest pace on record. They can't make ends meet. People cannot pay basic utility bills here, falling behind on mortgages, car payments. Does this sound familiar to you? And none of this is by accident. But again, you're going to be propagandized and lied to and told everything other than what's the actual truth here. And the truth is, this is central banks who are destroying the global economy, as you are well aware of, because they beat this to death every day by design, soon to wipe out the entire financial system here and vastly, vastly reduce the population of the world and exert a lot more control on them. This is what this is all leading to, and you must be ready for it. So anyway, on the economic front, other than people are burning through their earnings and savings at their fastest pace on record ever, okay, that's pretty freaking profound. But, weekly jobless claims, they came in unexpectedly worse than expected. No one expected this to happen. Look, these numbers are fake anyway. I really don't want to pay any attention to them, but a lot of you asked me to, so I do it. Anyway, that's really where we stand. Now let's look over here at what is happening here in the debt market and the US dollar. You got the 10-year yield this morning relatively flat compared to the last couple of days, at 3.76 the last time I looked at it. Yesterday, stood at about 3.75 at the close, same thing the day before. Is this a sign that the debt market is stabilizing? I'm going to tell you this, I don't think so. And here's why. We all understand, and I cover this to the point of nauseam, the Federal Reserve is involved in a program, it's repo program. It's reverse repo program. What is that? People have no idea what it is, but it's very, very simple. The Federal Reserve is passing cash between institutions overnight. Trillions of dollars. Well, we just hit another record high last night here, 2.4 trillion. Now, why is this happening? Why is the Federal Reserve involved in this scheme to move cash from institution to institution overnight? Because, again, the system is illiquid. The system is insolvent. Now, this mechanism, people, you know what I'm going to tell you, of moving cash from here to there and then back again, is to trick the system. That's all it is. To trick the system into believing that it's more liquid than it actually is. Here's the underlying problem of this entire thing. For several weeks now, way longer than that, we've been watching this phenomenon of global yields ballooning. Then Bank of England here pivots. Globally, bond yields drop. But it's not central banks. No, it's not central banks. Yes, it is. It's buying all the debt here. Okay. So, again, there's a liquidity problem. Liquidity problem. This is such a huge problem that, again, things like the Fed repo scam, I call it a scam because that's what it is. It's a scam to trick the market into thinking it's more liquid than it is. Okay, this mechanism here is going to grow, as I've been explaining to you, and here we go. Yet another record high. It can't stop because the system every day becomes more and more illiquid. You understand? Okay, so with that said, expect that to grow as well. Expect other things to happen. For example, another act, another policy, more hundreds of billions of dollars being sent over to Ukraine, courtesy of the American people and whoever else here, to fund that war. But they won't tell you what's really behind it. This must be done because that's the nature of the beast here. It must be fueled by any means, by any mechanism possible to keep the system afloat. That's how central banks operate here. And it's killing, in the literal sense, and eliminating, in the literal sense, an entire class of people all over the world. But no one is doing a thing about it. They want you to focus on global warming. They want you to focus on, the possibility of nuclear war, or this possible variant of this disease, or that, and put the freaking face diaper on, because that's what you really have to worry about, not the global debt bubble, which is going to burst and wipe out probably half the population of the freaking planet, okay? But you can't know any of this stuff. You have to be told lie after lie after lie. Let me explain this to you. When they float out a creature like they did earlier, Fed President Bostic to tell you that the Fed is not going to pivot? That means they're pivoting now. You understand? They must convince you that what you're seeing with your own eyes. Look, people, we don't need a degree in rocket science or brain surgery or anything else like that. You understand? You just got to believe your own eyeballs. Who's buying the debt? How is it that bond yields are now dropping or stabilizing here? And why is it that the Fed is increasing its overnight reverse repo program to trillions of dollars? I think the answer is very obvious. You know what it is. Do you know how far ahead of the curve you are? You have any idea what you know compared to the average person if you follow this blog? This financial system is the least understood topic in history. And again, do you think that's by accident too? None of this is explained to people. They don't understand it. They can't understand it by design. Because if people really understood how dark, ugly, horrible, twisted, disgusting, and vomitous it was, they would definitely be whistling a different tune. I can promise you that. All right, people, look, so that's the story. Stock futures lower this morning, not by much last time I looked. You got this 10-year yield somewhat stable. Dollar higher this morning. It's not a great setup for the market, honestly. At least it wasn't. I don't know what they're going to pull out of the hat. Did you see yesterday? Market down strongly across the board. Then by some miracle, it started getting bought up at the end of the day. This whole thing is so out there and doesn't make sense. You got economists being silenced, the real economists. You see, the ones that they have, that they allow to speak, are the ones that toe the line, the ones that play the game. But when you got anybody that tries to tell you the truth, that tries to explain to you things just don't add up, again, there's a whole group of economists out here who are trying to explain to people that the numbers that are being fist-fed to all of us just don't add up anymore. They're being silenced. All of them. I am shocked that I am still out here with all of you. They're going to silence me one day. There's no doubt about it. But I won't stop. I'll find another avenue. I promise you that. Because there's no way I'm going to allow this kind of sick, twisted, corrupt environment to pass under the radar unnoticed. I'm going to expose it all as far as I possibly can. All right, people, I need your help with that. So please share this video. Please get it out there. If you enjoy it, please give me that thumbs up. I will see all of you at the end of this freak show day, and hopefully I'll be in a better mood then. I'm out of here.